All right, this is from one of your colleagues at Dawg Pound Daily. 3 most overrated players on the Browns 2022 roster. Number 3, they say Harrison Bryant. Number 2, Ronnie Harrison. And number 1, they go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. And again, Eddie, you kind of alluded to it, wrapping up the previous thing that we were talking about. He had this monster training camp, and people were thinking, he's going to take off.
That's the one thing with Browns fans, myself included. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm on my high horse and that I never did this. But there are so many different guys around the league that are on the Browns roster that guys on Twitter or wherever, overhype them. And that's fine. That's fandom. That's, 1,000% what fandom is all about. But with that, you have to have realistic expectations. I don't agree that Donovan Peoples-Jones is overrated on this list. I don't think that he is a premier, superstar wide receiver in this league yet, but I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he's rated. I think he might be a little bit underrated just because of what he did last year with all the turmoil with quarterback, the injuries, and then the release of Odell Beckham Jr. and then Jarvis Landry. That comes. But I will agree with Ronnie Harrison. He came in a couple years ago in a trade. He was fantastic in the 2020 season, and then ever since last year when he put his hands on that Chiefs coach in the first game of the year, things went downhill for him. And, he did battle back a little bit. So hopefully he has that 2020 season this year. And Harrison Bryant, I'm excited to see what he does now that he's going to have a little bit bigger role. We talked about before that David Njoku is going to be the number 1 guy there with Austin Hooper out. He's going to be up number 2. So he has a chance to really shine this year. I don't know if I'd call him overrated necessarily. That's sort of a little bit of a stretch. I get where he's coming from. But at the same time, this is a big year for him, and we'll see what the future holds for him. But as for Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't think he's overrated at all. I don't think he is. I don't know if he's properly rated at all, no matter what you say to him. He's not a top 5, not top 10. I don't think he's probably a top 25 receiver in the league right now. He might not be even top 30, and that's fine. We don't need him to have that going into the season because, as you said, the training camp last year, he might as well have been the best wide receiver in the league, according to Brown's Twitter, because he did have an explosive camp, was making a ton of plays, but we have to have realistic expectations at the same time.
Yeah, and again, it's a guy that you got late in the draft that was in his second year. So, again, let's see what he learned. Let's see how he puts it into practice on the field.